Okay, a big warm welcome to all of our visitors that have come along to spend some time with us this afternoon, and also a big warm welcome to our panellists here today to discuss subjects of time to market and also supply chain security, which is the seminar and debate that takes place after this. My name is John Barrett. I'm the editor of Electronics Sourcing magazine, and it is my great pleasure to have been invited along here today as the chair of these two debates. The first thing I'd like to do is to introduce the panel that we have here. Incredibly experienced people with lifetimes of experience in the electronics distribution and device manufacturing sectors. So if there are questions out there, and we'll be taking questions and answers at the end, these are the guys that will most definitely have the answers. So firstly, starting from my right, and I'm going to make sure I get the pronunciations correct, is Shaun Mellors, Commercial Director of AEL Crystals. Rob Ross, Commercial Sales Director, Farnell Europe. Mark Cundle, Head of Technical Marketing, RS Components. And Mark Lonnon, who is Vice President International at Mellors Electronics. Now, the subject of the first debate this afternoon is time to market. And I'm just going to sort of set the scene as to why that issue may be something worth discussing. And then I'm going to offer an open invitation to answer a straightforward question in terms of the importance of this as an issue to our panellists. We can each spend 5 minutes or so just discussing their perspective on this particular issue. And then after about half an hour or so, 20 minutes, half an hour, then I can open up some questions to the floor. And also at the same time, I'll be making a few notes and I can sort of summarize some of the key points that have been discussed through the process. And if you want to kind of take part a second time over, our video camera crew is with us and we'll be recording this and making it available for future viewing via our website. So time to market. In my career in the engineering industry and electronics industry, it's a subject that never goes away. It means different things to different people. In the fast-moving consumer electronics industry, time to market, I guess, is all about first mover advantage, getting a march on competitors that you're working against. At the other end of the industry, in the more mature sectors such as industrial electronics, it's probably more about reducing the cost of research and development and product introduction. Any time that you can shave off a long development cycle is simply going to save you money. It costs an awful lot these days to develop a new electronic product, and anything you can do to reduce that process. And it's not really just time to market, it's time to profit, time to revenue, and then time to profit, to give you the resources you need to invest in the next round of R&D to take the next generation of product forward again. So it's clearly an important subject. One thing I would like to kind of ask the panel this afternoon as they go through their discussions is time to market is often discussed almost exclusively from a design perspective. What I'd like to do this afternoon is just think about it from a slightly different perspective in terms of the supply chain. Because once some of that design work is finished, it's then really about getting the right products to the right shop floor in the right quantity at the right time to make sure that there is no bottleneck then introduced in the manufacturing process. So I'll stop there, and I'm going to hand over, I think if we just work our way down the line. Shaun from AEL, the question is quite simple. Why is time to market important to your customers? And as a device manufacturer and sales organisation, what are you doing these days to help them get their products to market quicker?
Sure. Firstly, hello everyone.
Yep.
Is that working? For those of you who don't know AEL Crystals, we are a manufacturer of frequency control products. We offer a very wide, very comprehensive range of products. We operate with a fabless business model. So our production facilities, which are based in China, Taiwan, and Japan, give us a range of options for helping customers to meet improved lead times for time to market. The way that we really approach time to market is working very closely with our customers, both from, as John's already alluded to, a design perspective with R&D engineers, but also with purchasing as well. So we're conscious of discussing with a customer the requirements that they have and making sure that they fit with the product that we're offering to them, and making sure that that product is both productionable and is also something that we can produce effectively for them. The other area that I think we need to work closely with customers is on products moving towards end of life. Whilst we supply a vast range of products which have been used for many, many years, there are products that are starting to move towards end of life, and we can work with a customer to help them identify those products, to help them to look at putting an alternative in place which will reduce impacts of increased lead time that we might see with certain product areas. But the other area we can help a customer is by discussing specifications with them, is by making sure that we point them in the right direction. So it's important, I think, for customers to talk to and to listen to suppliers who have that experience, who have that knowledge of the product. Very often we'll get a customer ask us for a particular specification of part, but when we actually look in detail, either with purchasing or with design, very often they can maybe use a slightly different part that is a more standard part, which may be available through distribution partners such as Farnell for our products, and that will allow them to get a quicker time to market by utilising a product slightly different to maybe the one that they originally requested, but will do as good or better job than the part they've had previously. Another area that we can help customers is with emerging technologies. So, for example, in the frequency market, MEMS technology is an area that's growing quite quickly now. MEMS is a silicon-based oscillator. It gives us a big advantage in the time-to-market question because we can program the parts on site. So if you're looking for an oscillator of any of the logic output types, we can program that from stock and ship it the same day, rather than have to wait maybe 4 weeks or 6 weeks for us to produce the blanks, to produce a crystal-based product. So being open to looking at new technologies and being open to utilising those technologies in designs is another area that the customer can help with moving time to market. As I've already said, there's obviously a range of standard products as well, which we offer through distribution. And wherever possible, we can obviously point a customer down that path as well to give them something that they can get off the shelf rather than something that they have to wait on a lead time for.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Shaun.
Thank you, Shaun. So my name's Rospedzihowski, because I know John was struggling with the full pronunciation of the name. And I'm the Commercial Sales Director for Farnell Element 14 Europe. So to answer your question, John, I think this splits into two parts. The influencing of the time to market in the production arena has to start with the design phase. And I'm really pleased that Shaun's recognised the work that we do with AEL crystals. The key is to work very, very effectively with your supply base. We represent over 4,000 suppliers. So in terms of the initial phase of introduction of the product in the design cycle and the time to market, it's a critical part of our attribute that helps reduce the lead time and also helps from a cost point of view. Many companies will use our recently created Element 14 portal in terms of looking for new technologies, new areas of interest, new areas of design to bring your products of tomorrow in a most cost-efficient way to your end customers. And I think that is a critical part. And if the product is standard, and is designed in collaboration with the key suppliers that we represent, then obviously, as the cost reaches the full production phase, it is available and at a affordable cost and at a reduced lead time in terms of producing those parts and shipping them around the world. We have pioneered what we call services beyond product. So in that phase of delivery to you as an end customer, this is not just about the componentry, but this is also to help you with the front end of the design using Eagle as the design solution. We've also recently acquired a company in China called Invest, which helps you with the actual manufacture of those parts, and critically, in making available to you over 1 million products online through the web portal. It means that you have an automated access with reduced purchasing costs to deliver products to market. So, in summary, we are providing a global service through 5 regional distribution hubs based in the US, China, Singapore, and Europe on a 24-hour delivery to you as the end customers. But we also have a localized service, so we are present in every single country in Europe, and we provide local language service as well as locally translated sites for ease of design, ease of production, and ease of after-service requirements. So I think that sort of answers the time to revenue and time to profit, John, that you posed the question at the beginning. Thank you.
Okay. That's right, over to Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark Cundle, Head of Technical Marketing from RS Components. I'm from an engineering background, so I'm probably going to spend a little bit more time on how we reduce that time in the engineering and the design phase. I will come on to how we're using some of the programs we've got in steering some of our stocking decisions. So, I mean, first and foremost, engineers are ultimately paid to differentiate their products. Well, they want to make it lower power, sexier, faster, whatever differentiates their products. And so that's what they get excited by. That part of the design phase is ultimately where they want to be spending their time. However, there's lots of kind of enabling resources that distribution and RS should be providing that enable them to spend more time on that differentiation. Okay, so within the design phase, there's a number of bottlenecks that ideally distribution can help with. And if we start right at the start of a design phase, trying to identify those products that will be used, that actually, whilst sounding simple, is quite lengthy. Engineers will typically have a spec for a component they're trying to search, and they'll have to hit multiple manufacturers' websites and then try and compare across those websites. Let's be honest here and say that a lot of suppliers do use marketing kind of one-upmanship, so it's actually quite difficult to compare apples with apples. And so something that we're doing and we've spent a lot of time on is kind of gathering and cleaning that manufacturer data and normalizing that data so that we can show that to customers when they're making those component selection choices. The other thing we're seeing more and more of is kind of consumer behavior, driving behavior in the professional space. So what I mean by that, if you can all imagine the last time you bought a digital camera, you probably went to Canon's, Nikon's, Panasonic's website to have a look at the specs for that digital camera, but you probably didn't make your purchasing decision based on what you found at that website. You probably went to some independent review site, maybe Amazon, read a bunch of reviews, and from people you've never heard of, never met, but actually you seem to trust them more than what's found on the manufacturer's websites. So I think something we did a couple of years ago in launching Design Spark was provide that platform that enabled the engineers to share their experiences and review development tools and components. Moving on to board design, something if engineers are sat here, I'm sure spend a huge amount of time doing, is actually transposing that data from data sheets into their PCB design tools. And that can, if you have an error there, if you misname a pin, and wire that incorrectly, that can cause huge problems down the line that then is having to be re-engineered, and the time spent doing that is obviously costing that company money. So something that we've just launched is 80,000 component schematics and footprints across 21 different PCB tools, including our friends here. We've got Eagle models available from Design Spark website. We also recognise that the open source movement is really starting to gather momentum, and a lot of the suppliers that we're working with now, we are taking their reference designs, their development kits, and making those available for download in Design Spark PCB format. Now that's a huge time saving, because I think engineers do where they can, because the pressure and the stress on them to increase kind of product development, they will cut and paste from known working good design. So if we can provide them in a format that's easy to share and collaborate with, then that's only going to help. Moving on to mechanical design, this is arguably even more error-strewn, and we see, for example, engineers trying to design in just something simple like a USB connector. The CAD engineer will actually have to spend maybe a day or so modeling that individual connector before they can physically put it on their design. And you multiply that by the half a dozen or so connectors on an average board, with the display, with the battery pack housing, and actually that's a good couple of weeks of modelling the individual components before you can even move on to the design phase. So we introduced a 3D model library about 2 years ago, and it's been a very valuable resource that we're hearing. Moving on to the purchasing, having the stock at the right time. A lot of the programs that we have provide a very good barometer for when products are going to be purchased and the types of products that are going to be purchased. So we know, for example, if you're talking to our suppliers, we get datasheet download information. So we know that if someone's downloading a datasheet, maybe they're interested. So we kind of weight that accordingly, and we know there's probably somewhere between a 6 and an 18-month window then between viewing a datasheet and then purchasing the product. If you then look further down the design cycle and people are downloading PCB schematics, again, we can assign an increased weighting to that. So we know that actually if they're putting the schematic on the PCB design, probably more likely they're going to start purchasing that. And that's probably only 3, 4, 5 months from purchase. Then you move on to mechanical design. That's even more an indication that that's going to be purchased at some point in the future, and it's probably only a few months from purchase. So you add all those sources of information, those event triggers, weight them accordingly, and actually that starts to steer what parts you have in stock to ensure that when an engineer needs them, they're there and waiting. Okay.
Fantastic. Yeah, thanks very much. Over to Mark.
Thanks very much. My name's Mark Lonnon from Mellors. I think it's quite interesting that John got 3 of us up here from high service distribution, or whatever we all want to call ourselves these days, but I guess that's probably the bucket that most people know us as, because the market really has changed in terms of information, and information and technology really are the things which are driving the market more than anything else. So if we look from a Mauser standpoint, the area that we really focus on is less almost being a component distributor, but someone who's offering information and technology at the right part of the chain to the design engineer to help him from the concept stage to actually move that product down the line. So the key focus that we have a business is really to ensure that we're working directly with the manufacturers of the products in a way that means that as soon as a product is available from a manufacturer and a design engineer is there looking on the web and sees the part, he's able to buy it. There's actually nothing more frustrating as a design engineer to be going on the web, getting really excited by a new part, and then goes out there to buy it and it's not there. So what do we do as along with our fourth guy who's not here? I think most of us focus on the areas to actually make sure we bring those products out as fast as possible. Now the other area, of course, rather than the speed in doing that, is also the quality. It's sometimes very easy to get parts. It's relatively easy to get new parts, but sometimes the quality does make a difference. Now, if we look at China, for instance, there are lots of component manufacturers out there where the quality may not always be as high, and that may be a slight on some, because many of course are very good. But certainly the franchise distribution model makes a big difference of ensuring not only the design chain but also the supply chain as you move further into production. And what's really happening with the market that we see it these days is there's a whole raft of what we call them as anonymous engineers, and certainly the high service distribution model gets to this anonymous engineer pretty well. Most engineers these days are pretty smart. They've probably always been smart, but they're certainly even smarter these days because they have access to tools which are offered by us, which means they have information at their fingertips which they never had before. In the old days, people used to rely on a one-to-one relationship, and that one-to-one relationship is really, really hard to do to lots of engineers. You talk to many of the manufacturers as you go around the halls today. Can they get to many engineers? Absolutely not. Even in their key accounts, they rely on the likes of Mauser to get to the engineers who are not allowed to come to the front door of the building. They're doing the black boxes in the back, really just using the web now as the tool to get the information to design those products in. So what do they get by using the likes of a Mauser? Well, they remain anonymous, and they buy from us. They buy in small quantities. They have no salesperson banging on the door, which means they just get on with their designs and do what they do best. Helps them really get the products out to market pretty quickly. So along with the other areas that we have, of course, to help that is obviously the data, but really the biggest thing that we offer is the technology as quickly as possible, and then bringing the products to market as fast as we can once the manufacturer's released it.
Fantastic, thank you very much. I knew when I saw the lineup, and I knew when I saw the subject, you'd know the answers.